Hey everyone, Laurel, Minnesota, Zone 5A. Just going to do a walkthrough. We have some thunderstorms possibly coming through this afternoon, so want to get in a little tour before those hit. I think I'll do a tour next weekend of my containers. If you want to know everything that I planted in all of my containers, check back to my 2 videos ago, a recent upload, where I went through every single plant in here. One update, I did transplant. I had a salvia and some petunias in the smaller pot that is there. And I was worried it would be too small for that salvia, so I upgraded to a bigger pot. And I just love that pot. They had a few more. That was from Gertens. I said in my last video that I would talk about where I got all my pots, and then it just got too long and I kind of forgot. So I've collected them over many years. I've been container gardening for 15 years or more. Gertens right now, if you're local to the Twin Cities, is doing buy one, get one free containers. This is the first year where it hasn't just been actually 50% off everything. She said I was talking to a guy who works with like in the potting area, and he told me he's been working there for 16 years and it's always been just 50% off. The signs say buy one, get one free. Everything just rings up 50% off. But their buyer this year, for the first time, decided, nope, it's going to be buy one, get one free only. So you have to buy 2. So he did me a favor and gave me that pot for 50% off because I had asked about it. But anyway, just be warned. But still, buy one, get one free is a great deal, especially if you're getting a couple in the same price range. Then it still works out to 50% off. So yeah, this is the kind of like the summer heat is on, the humidity, and now things are really taking off. So I'll do an updated tour, I think, next weekend. Over here, my new little dahlia patch, plus this random Stachy's Humelo. I'm super excited because this is starting to bloom. So we've got cute little pink purple blooms on there, and a few of the dahlias have opened. I know I have Haley Jane, Penhill Joy, and Cafe au lait in here in this section. They are all doubles. I think they didn't know. One is a cactus dahlia or something, or maybe a decorative. Look at that beautiful magenta color. They should get pretty tall too. I can see. I don't want to reach in there. We just got like tons of rain for like ever the past week. What day hasn't it rained? So everything's very well moisturized. However, it's very humid and the ground is soft, so I don't really want to step in there. Here I've got 2 Manhattan Island dahlias, 2 Golden Scepter. Those have prolific blooms and they get huge. They are the ball type dahlia in like a beautiful golden yellow. That one was a mystery, so we'll see what it turns out to be. This is a new area I took over. I kind of used these panels. This was an old raised bed that I replaced with my new Vigo beds. So I just left these panels and some cardboard over the grass over the winter. Kind of added cardboard in the spring, and I'm slowly clearing this off. So I'll clean up the edges and expand this a little bit. But oh, and this is a sunflower that comes down. I have open patches so that my mom can access the bird feeders. And I do pull the sunflowers. They're easy to pull, the weeds, but I let that one grow because why not? I've got mulch storage here. I was going to plant some dahlias over here too, but I picked up this evergreen. This is a De Groot Spire Arborvitae from Gertens on clearance, and when I had it kind of over in this area, it looked really pretty, the foliage. So I can't do that one in particular. It gets too tall at maturity to go under the eaves, but I was thinking maybe something small like a tater tot, a couple of those. I don't know. So anyway, I left this open. I'll just mulch it over. I think I want to put some large stepping stones in here too, where you would access the bird feeders. Don't need them, but it just looks nice. We've got weeds, and these are 3 peach tea heucherella. This thing's getting big. This is the low-scape mound hedger aronia. It'll get black berries. These green berries will slowly turn black over the summer. This was full of blooms this year. You can see all the berries on it. It's It's called chokeberry is the common name because the berries, while edible, they taste terrible. So, but they're very decorative. Behind that, this salvia, this purple salvia. This one, I think it's called Victory. No, Blue Victory. I had a seed packet, one of the first things I ever seeded in this garden, and it was supposed to be annual, but I think it's sort of a hardy annual or like a tender perennial, whatever you want to call it. So it just kept moving around. It gets really big and splits open. So I had one here in this garden, chunked it up and gave it away, but it did self-seed kind of under the downspout there. So I've just let this one grow. Just, there's nothing else there. And I'll cut it back, but that one really blooms all summer long. It's not like other salvia where they bloom once and then they're kind of done. I also have just a teeny bit of remaining foliage from my spring bulbs kind of mixed in here. I did plant, I finally cut back my zinnias. These I did not start from seed. I bought these, but these were the Zahara double salmon zinnias. These are my favorite zinnias. They stay compact and mounded, that beautiful salmon pink. These will, once they fill out, get fuller blooms. Those blooms are kind of small right now. I have 2 Wicked Witch coleus filling in, 2 of the Rockin' Play in the Blue salvia. These plants all get very large. I do have some self-seeded annuals that I seed started that I think I'm going to pop in here in the open spots as well. So this will be nice and full. I like to leave this area open just for some of these big color annuals. I did put some magnesium, treated with magnesium, which is Epsom salts, on this Troutman Blue juniper, which hopefully is not suffering from fungus. I believe it might be magnesium deficiency. They like dry, kind of rocky, sandy soil. That's where they grow best. Here, I have clay, and we've gotten a ton of rain early in the year. So in drought years, this one will do fantastic, but I think with all the water, I think it's gotten too much water, and the clay is binding up the nutrients. So it was getting yellowed needles in the center. I knocked all of those off, and I treated with some Epsom salt. So I'll do that I think it's like a teaspoon or so around the base of the plant every about 3 weeks or so. You don't want to shock it or put too much salt in there. That is bad. So we'll see how that does. I really hope it does well because that is a beautiful shrub. And I really want it stays very narrow too. So I want that like punctuation right there. This is a Limelight Punch. Limelight Prime. Just having a brain malfunction here. No buds on it quite yet. That one is only about 2 years old. Last year I transplanted it in order to create this garden bed and plant the juniper. So it's a little bit behind. Over the course of 2 days, we got 4 inches of rain. So the phlox has splayed out over here and over there. These are the opening act ultra pink phlox. This is the one I'm worried has either fusarium wilt, which is a fungal disease, or you can see these blooms, like these stalks are very short and deformed looking blooms. I am worried that it got aster yellows, and the blooms around the edges don't look quite right either, that yellow foliage. So nice thing about aster yellows is when you dig out the plant in the roots, it doesn't live in non-living tissue. It spreads from insects that bite the tissue of plants and spread it from one living plant to another. So you can bury the plant itself in your compost just so that bugs can't continue to feed off of it and spread the disease by biting other plants after biting this one. But I could plant the exact same plant in the exact same spot, and the disease will not remain in the soil or in like dead leaves or anything like that. So if a plant has it, there's no cure. You just need to get rid of the plant because it can easily spread to it, and it affects, so many species. So you don't want to keep those plants in your garden. You want to get rid of them. But it's not something that remains in the environment where the affected plant was, as long as you get all the living tissue out of there. So I could plant the exact same phlox in the exact same spot. So at least there's that. I've got 3 dwarf solidago. These are goldenrod over here. These will bloom beautiful yellow in maybe August. And then 2 of the Sunseekers salmon echinacea. I have 1 more that's going to go in this bed here too, once I get around to my perennial planting. The Blue Star Amsonia is pretty much done blooming. Just a few lingering blooms on the Crimson Kisses Weigella. Again, I think I'll maybe trim. I like the arching shape of this shrub though. We'll see though, because it is encroaching on this rose. I've been thinking about moving this rose out a little bit, and this really got flattened out by the rain. You can see how huge these like bloom heads are. This is the Peach Drift Rose, kind of going out of its first flush of blooms. This blooms maybe 3 times over the course of the summer. So first flush is in June. So I think I'll trim that back. Maybe I will scoot it out about 6 inches, and that way it'll get a little bit more separation from this Weigella. These volunteer coneflowers have started opening. Beautiful. I love that hot pink. It's like hot watermelon pink blooms. It looks really pretty with this yarrow here too. This is the Noblesse yarrow, same or similar to the Peter Cottontail yarrow, if you see that for sale. It splays out really bad, which is why I have all these plant supports around it. So I think I'm gonna have to adjust these plant supports and prop this back up. I could trim it back too. This thing will just keep sprouting new stems. We've got, I always call these dark towers sedum, but they're actually night embers is the variety. I'm starting to put buds on. We've got more volunteer echinacea, including this one. This is a little lime hydrangea. That echinacea is huge. It's probably 3.5 feet tall. And then, well, while I'm zoomed, hopefully this isn't too shaky. I'm not a professional filmmaker, so apologies. I'm quite unprofessional. That is the Barbara Harrington clematis. Beautiful, deep pink blooms on that. I don't know that I'll be able to get back there to trim it back. It doesn't rebloom when I do trim it back, so I may just not worry about it. Another volunteer echinacea with those hot, hot pink blooms. Man, I love that deep pink color. So pretty. And then I have 2 of the original plants that these have self-seeded from. 1 and 2. Oh, that one's looking, I wonder if that's mites or aster. This is what aster yellows, it just spreads. These are more of like a watermelon color. And then I've got some Leotris about to open up back in there too. I can see those are cobalt, so purple. I've got echinacea that kind of spreads itself around and seeds itself everywhere. Those 2 grasses are panicum. They are Cheyenne Sky. No, Shenandoah switchgrass, panicum. I also have Cheyenne Sky in another spot, but they get those sort of little red tinged tips. I don't know if you can see that. And then all the ferny stuff back there are cosmos. Those seed themselves all over the place. They are volunteered now as well. And I purposefully leave my cosmos in here all winter, so they will do that. We also have the red foliage, Holy Grail hardy hibiscus, summerific Holy Grail. That blooms late summer and just stunning blooms. And then the Coreopsis here has started opening its yellow, cheerful yellow blooms. And you can see these daylilies are ready to go. They are loaded up with blooms. These are South Seas daylily. They're huge. Also, this foliage is like some of the biggest daylilies I've ever seen. But these blooms are just spectacular. So you'll see that in a future tour. Stay tuned. And we've got an Anna's Magic Ball Arborvitae. I forgot to mention we also had one over by the Troutman Juniper, a little bit smaller. This is pretty much full size. They only get about 1.5 feet tall and wide at maturity. So I don't expect this to get much bigger than that. And 3 more Night Embers sedum. And then this is the opalescence phlox from Proven Winners. Very mildew resistant. This one is doing excellent. And it is all full of buds right now, ready to open. So that is exciting. That one is like a pink cloud when that opens. I need to cut back this aster one more time. I think it's woods blue. It wasn't labeled. It's like a purpley blue aster. blooms very late in the season, but I do trim it back. I keep it cut back to size control and to keep it from splitting open. So I do that up until about 4th of July, which is next weekend. So this little patch, Daisy May Daisy, just looking super happy right there. And then I planted some annuals in here, and I see there are a few more cosmos that have come up. Jury's out whether those will remain. We've got, these get nice and big and see-through, kind of, they grow through other plants really well. These are the Gomphrena Carmine, my favorite variety of Gomphrena. And then I have 2 zinnias here as well, some more Zahara zinnias, different varieties. Oh, I see more buds on this little guy. This is another daylily called Mighty Chestnut, kind of like burnt orange bloom, like burnt sienna. Remember the Crayola color? A little bit like that, very different. And then my annuals are still looking a little thin, but they'll fill out. The cosmos, I also have some zinnias. There's one marigold that seeded itself. I'm excited this year because I got some white cosmos in here. Last year they were all pink. And, oh, I've got, that's right, buds. Man, I haven't seen beetle damage yet on my oriental lilies. I have 2 stargazer lilies in here, kind of growing through the foliage. Normally they're completely chewed up by beetles, but this year I haven't seen any signs. I also have an after 8 lily, which is a dwarf version, looks like a stargazer, very fragrant, both of them. And I vowed not to plant any more lilies because those red lily beetles just cause so much damage, but this year they've been okay. We've got this azalea back here. They like a little bit of shade. This area is full sun, so I like these cosmos, once they mature, kind of give this azalea a little bit of shade. This is Rosy Lights. It blooms beautiful hot pink early in the spring. More cosmos, more Gomphrena, more zinnias. I also have some straw flowers mixed in there. This container's looking really nice. I love the Bermuda Beach petunia with the can rose. I like this can rose because it's like pink, but it kind of has like orange and yellow in the center of the bloom there. So really nice color on that. I started those from seed. This will get huge. Lemon lime plectranthus. And then I've got more cosmos behind. Veggies are doing great. Hard keeping up with all the weeds. We got carrots coming up, peppers, cabbage. I can probably harvest these pretty soon. These cabbage, if you wait too long, sometimes they can burst in the heat. Oh yeah, oh yeah. These are like the pointy cabbage, which I think is so fun. Yeah, that's looking chunky. I'll have to plan a recipe with cabbage next weekend. I meal prep everything on Sundays usually. And a lot of self-seeded dill here. I really need to cut back this catnip. That one is just massive. That's as tall as I am. And I am 5'10". And I already cut it back once this year. So I'll have to keep that cut back and then probably pull it at the root in the fall when I can get back there. But these all are volunteer. All the marigolds, the little, ooh, cute, look at this color. The snapdragons. I had stuff that I planted from seed back here. And it all just started coming up. Normally I would do my pea pods, but I noticed all the flowers seeded themselves and I didn't have the heart to pull them out. So I'm kind of glad I didn't do as many vegetables this year. I mean, I have plenty. I have shallots, which I eat all year long, so I grow a lot of them. Peppers, which I have almost every single day of the week. Got garlic. I like planting marigolds. These are all shallots in all these grow bags. I have 8 peppers planted and zucchini, cabbage, carrots, lettuce. I planted plenty, and I'll have beans coming up shortly, strawberries, so I got lots of food. I decided not to do cucumbers or peas this year, and I've been feeling a little tired and perhaps overwhelmed, so I'm glad I don't have all the extra stuff to harvest and cook and store. For this year, I'm okay with it. I did harvest the 2 butter crunch lettuces that were there, Adriana, and these are about ready to harvest too. I don't remember the variety. I think I said they were the free seed packets that Baker Creek sends out. And then I have some seeds started of the Salanova lettuce. I have in a few spots. You can see my cat proofing. That's, if you hadn't seen my previous videos, that's what all these baskets are for. We've got a huge feral cat colony in this neighborhood, and any loose ground They poop all over my mulch. They use it as a litter. These are like giant litter boxes to them. So until things get really full, I have to keep them protected from the cats, or they'll just scratch it up and use it as a litter box. And you do not want cat poop near your food. This planter is filling in really well. These are two different varieties of Zahara zinnias. I know there's raspberry ripple, and then I want to say something like pink star or raspberry star. And then a pink angelonia in the center there. Angel face angelonia. I think that's the variety of the proven winners. And a couple, I like to mix flowers in here, like my herb planter this year. I brought out my bigger pot from the back. So I've got marigolds mixed with rosemary, sage, oregano, and then a salvia in the middle. These are like yellow onions. Candy onions is the variety. I have good luck with shallots in grow bags. Haven't grown either onions or shallots in the ground. So far they look like they're bulbing up, so I'm hopeful. I need to fertilize things too, but when we get this much rain, it's just tough. Because you don't want to overwater. But they do need the feed. So the yarrow has started opening. This one was unlabeled, so best guess maybe like strawberry or pomegranate yarrow. Nice hot pink blooms. All the other, and then the nepeta. This is Walker's Low nepeta, still blooming. I'm surprised this hasn't split open yet with all the rain we've gotten. So that's exciting. Have not yet cut back the salvia. I haven't had time to do that. These were the back to the fuchsia salvia. So I always give these a Chelsea chop and let them just flush out new growth because they won't rebloom. Otherwise, things looking good. We've got sage leaf willow. Limelight hydrangea back there is finally starting to get nice big size to it. That was a clearance plant, so it had a little bit of catching up to do this year. And then this is the Sun King Aurelia here. And I have a little space in this area, decide what to do with. Probably plant a perennial. I have some work over here to transplant some things. I do see some blooms starting on the astilbe. I've got two white ones and then one called Razzle Dazzle in the middle that I found on clearance, and I was excited. I wanted it just for the name. These white astilbe are starting to bloom here behind this. This is a lady in red fern, and it is so beautiful. I need to get some more of those. I don't know where I'm going to put them, but it's just so elegant. Highly recommend lady ferns. And little lime hydrangea over here too, looking pretty much as big as the limelight. No blooms yet on these astilbe, but almost. They've got the bloom stalks going. I do see firelight hydrangea has buds. Yay! This one is stunning. Oh, look at that shield bug over here. Hey, little guy. Don't eat my plants, please. Thank you. So I got two firelight hydrangeas. I did pop a lungwort down here. The pink so blue lungwort, kind of in the hole around in the center of those Heucherella that didn't come back so well. We've got an Alexander's Great Brennera, and then this is the Artist Blue Ageratum from Proven Winners. The Sensation Sky Blue still in bloom, kind of going out of bloom, but that split really bad from all the rain we got. That one always does that. So when the blooms are, I'll leave the blooms. The pollinators love them. It's still color, but that gets chopped all the way to the ground after it's done blooming, and then I let it flush out. I did plant the other ageratum. It was an extra one that I had. I have a whole line of them over here. What are they called again? Aguilera Sky Blue. Indistinguishable from the Artist Blue from Proven Winners, so whichever you can find. These stay nice and compact and full of bloom all summer. So I got a whole row of them here. This is the Persian something catmint, still blooming. And then the Drops of Jupiter ornamental oregano. These will bloom in a few more weeks. You can see they're kind of starting to pop up their bloom stalks. These did seed. I love the lacy look of the dead blooms too in the winter time, so I left them up. However, they seeded everywhere. So if you want oregano, You can easily split these, even if you buy like a 1-gallon container. If you find these somewhere, save yourself some money, just buy 1 or 2 and split them, because they grow so fast and they are so tough. If you want seedlings, let them go to seed over the winter and you'll have seedlings galore. So I weeded those out, or I've been weeding them out. Some of them are getting choked out because they're covered. Some I transplanted too and gave to a friend, but that was some of the best smelling weeding that I've done this year. So that was nice. We've got a patch of echinacea back here. Started out as red, but now they have volunteer seeded themselves all over, and now they're mostly pink. We've got the cute little bobbleheads going on the Millennium Allium. Those will bloom later in the summer. Caradonna salvia is technically out of bloom. That's what's behind there, but the bloom stalks look so pretty even when they're faded, so I leave them up. They'll kind of throw out sporadic blooms here and there too. Then when they start turning brown, I cut them back. Caradonna is just such like a low maintenance variety. Highly recommend. And you can see the, I think it's Bubblegum Blast Bee Balm behind there, another one that wasn't labeled, but I got it at Gerton's. It's neon pink, and the neon pink bee balm they sold was Bubblegum Blast. So I put 2 and 2 together and figured that's what it was. The geranium here, the Boom Chocolata, is huge, first of all. Second of all, it didn't split open and splay out in the rain. A few of the branches kind of dropped, so I might just trim those to make mowing easier. But this plant has just been awesome. I love the color of the foliage. I just hope it doesn't get too huge. Like don't have room for a small shrub in this spot, so hopefully it stays manageable size. We've got this Coreopsis, another clearance plant that I don't know the variety of because it wasn't labeled. It has kind of those tubes, it's like each petal is a little tube on there. And then I've got a bunch of snapdragons that I started from seed, kind of mingled in. There's a helenium back there that will bloom late summer, and a bunch of self-seeded echinacea spread throughout here. These are white. I think there was a rogue pink one too in there. And then these are maybe golden rocket barberry, again, clearance. I had 3 of them that I planted kind of close together. And then this is a North Pole arborvitae, again, clearance, but absolutely beautiful. And strawberry daiquiri dogwood. That's going to be full of berries because it was full of blooms. And down here we got one, I wish it was still open today. These are the prettiest blooms, but I'm sure you'll see it on a future tour. I got my first daylily bloom here. These are Joylene Nicole daylilies. Beautiful peach blooms with yellow center and kind of roughly edges. The ajuga, chocolate chip ajuga, is doing great. This is the thing with ground cover. It's great at suppressing lots of weeds. However, the weeds that get in there or grass are hard to get out. So I might dig this. Okay, I'm back. My battery died. Kind of thought it might. Lo Santo, we are back. Anyway, you can see the grass kind of coming up through the ajuga there. I have another patch with some, what are they called? Dandelions in it. So I might dig it out, pull out the weeds, and then replant. We shall see. Stokes Aster, Riptide Stokes Aster, new one to me. That blooms purple, I think late in the season, I'm guessing, if it's like other asters. That's my first zone 5 perennial since we changed our zone, so I'm pleased it survived. And then all the fluffy white blooms here are Diacia. Trinity Grace is the variety. That is a new to me annual as of last year. And then still, if you watch my previous videos, still forgot to trim the dogwood. It's covering a little of Rocket Ligularia that's hidden behind that statue thing. I have a stained glass hosta and a June hosta, 3 sweet tea heucherella. Very small compared to previous years, but pleased they survived our winter. I didn't know if they were going to make it. And then that is a halcyon hosta. Getting a little bit burned, but as we get later in the summer and the sun gets lower, you know, right now it's end of June, so it's kind of peak sun hours, especially up here in the northern climate. The sun, it'll get more shade because the sun will be lower in the sky and therefore behind more trees. So we've got a Heconocloa macra grass here. Green, it gets those pretty red tips on it. That one I think is a little bit smaller and a little more stressed than previous years too. This winter was just really rough. And a Bailey's American Cranberry Viburnum. Supposed to get 6 feet tall. I'm 5'10", and this is easily 1.5 feet over my head. So I had 3 of them. One of them died last year, and I pulled it out. I think they were afflicted by canker, which is a fungal disease. They also get really chewed up by viburnum beetle, which is a shame because viburnum are just such great native shrubs, but man, they get eaten alive. This one to a lesser extent than the others. I have another one kind of tucked behind here that's much smaller. I had a trio of them, but that one is also looks like it's half dead, I think also because of canker, so I'm just expecting that one to fully die, unfortunately. We've got 2 autumn frost hosta and a row of little twinny peach, now out of bloom mostly, but those are just getting established. Twinny peach snapdragons. The diaceae over here I have mixed with Persian shield, both annuals here, but it did so great for me last year, and it's such a beautiful purple color. And I had forever purple heuchera over here that over the years have died out. Even the ones that I used as replacements have died out, so I thought maybe I'll just do some Persian shield every year. If they're going to die, that's a lot cheaper buying an annual than a perennial. And then I have a bunch of self-seeded foxglove growing in here. I'm sure I'm going to have to thin those out a little bit. We've got the wee hosta, which has that frilly foliage. Behind that is a fragrant bouquet hosta, which lives up to its name when in bloom. Trevi fountain lungwort, filling out beautifully. This one gets very big. Beautiful cobalt blue blooms in the spring. I mean, just stunning. And then it flops open, I cut it back, and then it fills out and it has that beautiful polka dot foliage. Very drought tolerant once they're established. Lungwort and hosta are great pairs together because they're pretty much super tough plants once they're established. And we've got a Penny's Pink hellebore here with the variegated foliage. I tucked in a torchlight coleus. And then I have 3 silver gumdrops heuchera blooming that vibrant pink color right now. We've got a patch of Biokovo hardy geraniums that were in bloom. Now they're kind of starting to go out of bloom. So I'll cut those back. They might, I can't remember if they flush out again. They might. But they also get really pretty color in the fall, like burgundy foliage. I see a giant dandelion that I will need to pull. This little patch here, I need to edge this bed really bad too. This is the Giles von Hees Veronica. This one struggled. This is like the 3rd or 4th place I've had it in my garden. And I keep, as I move this edge out, I'm still working on this garden bed, I keep pulling it further out because it stays really short. You can see it's very much like a front of the garden type plant. But the more I've moved it around and given it more airflow, the better it has done. So yay for that. Threw another one of those salmon Sahara zinnias in there. This is the opening act ultra pink as well. I suppose I could just dig out a chunk, half of this, and plant it on the other side, get rid of the one, just in case it has aster yellows. I don't want that to spread. In fact, maybe I'll do that. This one also splayed open. I do have more plant supports that I need to put around these. Hopefully today I will get this spirea and the juniper planted, then I can put the rest of my annuals in this area. For now I have another torchlight coleus, and then this is a annual echinacea that I grew, had a patch of these that I grew from seed back here, and this one actually sprouted from the root. So not self-seeded, but the plant itself, the root survived this cold, snowless winter. So that was amazing. But I have a bunch more that I started from seed that will go in here. More foxglove seedlings coming up. I haven't done much over here because I just wanted to make sure I got the shrub placement correct first. These I think are buttered rum or butterscotch. Something tasty with butter that you can eat. Heucherella. There's a little bit daffodil foliage still in there. We've got a white bleeding heart that'll start to die back, which is why I have it kind of late in the summer overtaken by the Sun King Aurelia and the hostas around it. Bloom started opening. This is the blue drinking gourd hosta, Abika blue drinking gourd, I think it's called. Oh my gosh, look at this baby little heucherella. Did it seed itself? That's adorable. Okay, I'm glad I noticed that before I plant this juniper, so I don't accidentally dig it up and kill it. Funny, when I was digging out this garden bed area, all of this was like way underground. So I'm wondering if they either had a patio here or just a spot to put something like a bird feeder or bird bath. I don't know. So I need to do something with those. They're all crumbly, but like vintage little patio, very kind of 80s looking. 60s, I feel like in the 80s they were old. Striptease hosta, this one is getting huge. Then I have another butter something heucherella kind of hiding down there. And let me check, haven't checked out the DeGroot Spire Arborvitae yet. Well, it's still putting on new growth. I know this one grows really slow compared to other Arborvitae. This got really winter burned on the backside over the winter. So it is, I do see lots of new growth. So I think it'll be okay. This is the sickly viburnum. You can see how half of it is pretty much dead. Maybe I can get in there and saw out that bad branch. I don't know. Anyway, I have 3 Calamagrostis overdam. Love the seed heads on this grass. Really beautiful color. Like even the seed heads are like white and green variegated, and then they get these kind of purplish tips to them too. Just a beautiful color. Okay, I'm having technical difficulties. As you can tell, I'm not a professional filmer. So I'm back. And this video is also getting a lot longer than I intended, so we're going to hustle it along. Calamagrostis overdam, ugly storage area that everybody needs in their garden. Now the sun came out too. Check it out. I got more random non-matching, well, some are matching, bulk mulch. So the journey continues. I do need to mulch all of this. You can see all the weeds coming up in here too. And then I will be mulching this area once I plant my perennials and annuals and shrubs, etc. Tree is doing great still. Nothing new to report there. That's a rising fire beech. Oh, not many updates from last video. A little more action on the blooms here, but we'll see some blooms coming up here on my little native area. And these are the Cheyenne Sky 3 Panicum from Proven Winners. I have more milkweed to plant, but yeah, just a lot to do over here. Otherwise, lots of weeds, lots of things looking good. Over on this side, I hadn't planned on going through every single plant, but I guess the first half of the video, that's what we're doing. But now I think I'm going to rush through a little bit and not go over every single thing. Look, we have a little patch of shade. Oh my. We missed the shade over here from the spruce trees that came out. So I'm excited for this tree to get big and get some shade again over here. I just love how full this area is. Finally, I've been waiting for this to get nice and full. These beautiful goat's beard blooms popping up, and not a bloom yet on the snake root, but soon. Those plants, how many names do those have? Like Actia, snake root. What was the new one or the old one? Is it Centaria? No, that's something else. I see some new sprouts. I need to cut off. This was another pink so blue lungwort that was really root bound in its pot and very stressed, all covered in powdery mildew. But now I see it is sprouting some new leaves, so I cut the old ones off. But the star of the show here is the Jackmanii clematis. Just stunning. So beautiful. I wish a cloud would come back over the sun so you could see a little bit better. I love the like deep purple petals with sort of that light purple streak in the middle, lavender streak shooting through. So beautiful. And this plant is finally mature. I've been waiting. Every year it's been a little more beautiful. I think it's been in the ground now for 3 full years. And that is the story of clematis. They're really like the epitome of the first year it sleeps, second year it creeps, third year it leaps, sometimes fourth year it leaps. They really focus on their root system first before putting out spectacular blooms. Just noticing, I wonder, this one has 4 petals and most of the other blooms have 5, although some have 4. Never noticed that. Pretty cool. And the hanging basket, once the clematis is done blooming, I'll trim that back so the hanging basket gets more in the sun. But Solomon seal right below it too. Just, I'm so happy with this area now. And look at all the violas. These are self-seeded. I've planted several years ago. I planted violas that I pulled out of a container before they died back, and then they went to seed, seeded themselves all over, and now here we go. So cheerful. Let's see what else. I need to deadhead these geranium, these poor seed geranium. They're looking healthy. It's just the rain kind of beat all the petals down. Ooh, we've got some blooms starting to form, or buds rather, on the bobo hydrangeas. And that one, I keep thinking that it's a Sum and Substance. It's actually, I think, Coast to Coast hosta. And I think that one might be Hudson Bay. And this is the other one. It's either Patriot or Minuteman. I can't keep them straight. And then that one is Cherry Berry, I think. And then this poor variegated Brunner that just gets eaten by those flea beetles. Okay, don't talk about every plant, Laurel. We don't have time. I hate all the weeds coming through the fence constantly, especially with all this rain. I have to get after those again. Ugh. They need to invent a fence, like a chain link fence that's like a Venetian blind, where you just pull a string and it rolls up out of the way, and then I can trim them more easily. The GM has gone out of bloom, just a couple pops of orange, so I'll trim those bloom stalks off, and they'll just be nice, clean mound of foliage. After that, Kinsley's Ghost Honeysuckle, still magnificent and wild and blocking the path. Still need to trim that. You know, we only have so much time. Got a couple more evergreens here to plant. Otherwise, things are looking good. The Rudbeckia really took off. So we've got 2 American Gold Rush Rudbeckia over here. Very resistant to fungal disease. This variety. This one's getting a little bit shaded because I'm letting these sunflowers, they self-seeded from the bird feeder, so I'm just letting those bloom. And then we'll dig them out or pull them out, whatever. Another opening act, I think it's called Pink Romance. Phlox, lamb's ear blooms, not as many this year. I'll trim those off. The lady's mantle blooms just flopping like crazy from all the rain. I did get in here and weed the other day. There's a lot of weeds to pull, but there are a lot more under the dogwood. It's just so weighed down from the constant rain. It's hard to get in there. So once that pops back up, I'll get that. And the lady's mantle I'll cut back too. It does look so, like here you can see some of the moisture from the rain we got last night, how it they're like tiny little hairs on the leaves. And the rain just kind of like beads up. So it looks really particularly pretty after a rain. Not so much when the blooms are all flopped over. Yeah. So that is it. I think we'll end it there. We've got penstemon back there in bloom. Those seed themselves everywhere from 2 original plants that I had planted. And that's it. I got to get to work. I got stuff to work on over here, as you can see. Whittling it way down. All I have left is what's on the table. And then I'm sure clearance plants will start being marked down. So I'll make more work for myself in the end. But that's how it goes. We just can't stop. There's always something to work on in the garden. So thank you so much for joining me and for watching. Really appreciate it. Sorry for all the technical difficulties. I am not a professional. I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't have fancy equipment. I'm just doing the best I can because I just love talking about gardening. So anyway, and I know many of you do too, and I appreciate all the comments and ideas, and it's just a nice community to be a part of. So anyway, with that, I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.